Not every story ends with justice. Some end in blood, betrayal, and the villain getting exactly what they wanted. Let's talk about the darkest twists fiction has ever dared to give us. Starting with the Joker, Batman's iconic nemesis, achieved a significant victory in The Dark Knight, 2008. This time he targets Harvey Dent, Gotham's district attorney, known as the White Knight, a symbol of true justice. Unlike Batman, who operates in the shadows, Dent fights crime within the system. People trust him. They believe that if anyone can clean up Gotham the right way, it's him. But the Joker sees an opportunity. If he can break Dent, he can destroy Gotham's hope from the inside. So he doesn't just attack him physically, he dismantles his life piece by piece. The Joker kidnaps both Rachel Dawes, Dent's fiancée, and Dent himself. He forces Batman to choose who to save, knowing Batman will try to rescue Rachel. But Joker lies about their locations. When Batman arrives, he finds Dent instead. Rachel dies in an explosion, and Dent is severely burned, leaving him with horrific scars. Dent wakes up in the hospital, broken, angry, and full of grief. Joker, completely unfazed, visits him, whispers poison into his ears, and convinces him that chaos is the only true justice. Joker doesn't tell Dent what to do, he just nudges him toward an inevitable fall. Dent becomes Two-Face, abandoning his belief in law and embracing chance. He goes on a revenge spree, blaming those he feels were responsible for Rachel's death. By the end, Dent is completely lost. By corrupting Harvey Dent, the Joker destroys Gotham's symbol of hope. To protect Dent's legacy, Batman and Gordon agree to lie. Batman takes the blame, proving Joker's point that even the righteous will bend the truth. Gotham is saved, but through deception. Joker wins through psychological warfare. Richmond Valentine, the billionaire tech genius from Kingsman: The Secret Service, had one of the wildest villain plans ever. Played by Samuel L. Jackson, this guy wasn't your typical evil mastermind. He had a lisp, a love for McDonald's, and an extreme case of blood-related squeamishness, but don't let that fool you. Valentine was dead serious about his mission, saving the planet, by wiping out most of humanity and only letting the billionaires live. His plan was to give away free SIM cards to everyone on Earth. Sounds nice, right? Except those SIM cards emitted a signal that turned people into uncontrollable murder machines. No brainwashing, no mind control, just pure rage mode activated. The result was absolute chaos. People everywhere started attacking each other, parents turning on their kids, strangers beating each other to death in the streets. It was survival of the fittest, and if the plan went unchecked, billions would have died. And here's the crazy part, Valentine kind of won. Sure, Eggsy and the Kingsmen eventually stopped the signal, but by that time, a whole lot of people were already dead. The movie kind of skims over the aftermath, but let's be real, millions, maybe even hundreds of millions, were likely killed in those few minutes of chaos. And even though Valentine got a fittingly ridiculous death, his plan actually worked. Some villains want money, some want revenge, but Doctor Doom? He wanted everything, and in Secret Wars 2015, a comic book published by Marvel, he conquered the world and he remade reality itself. Doctor Doom has always been one of Marvel's most dangerous minds, a genius, a sorcerer, and a ruler. He's the full villain package, but in Secret Wars, he goes beyond just being a dictator. He steals the power of the Beyonders, beings so powerful they exist outside of time itself. Doom doesn't just beat a god, he becomes one. And when the heroes try to stop him, he kills them instantly. Even Thanos, the Infinity War snap-happy Thanos, tries to challenge Doom. And Doom rips Thanos' skeleton straight out of his body in one move. With no one left to oppose him, Doom reshapes existence into Battleworld, a reality where he's the absolute ruler. He decides who lives, who dies, and what the world even looks like. He rules not out of malice, but because he believes he's the only one capable of doing it right. Doctor Doom also appoints Doctor Strange as his sheriff and created the Thor Corps, a police force made up of alternate versions of Thor. Imagine that, an army of hammer-wielding enforcers patrolling his world, ensuring his will is law. For a while, Doom actually wins, completely, but deep down, even he knows he isn't worthy, and in the end, his own belief that someone better should rule is what undoes him. But make no mistake, for a time, Doom wasn't just the ruler of the world, he was its god. Emperor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, is the most patient, manipulative villain in Star Wars history. This guy didn't just take over the galaxy, he played the long game, carefully orchestrating his rise to power while everyone else was too busy fighting wars he created. At first, Palpatine looks like your typical harmless old politician, a kind senator from Naboo, just trying to keep the Republic in order. But in reality, he's a Sith Lord with a master plan. From the very beginning, he manipulates the Trade Federation into attacking his home planet, setting himself up as the galaxy's hero. This sympathy move lands him the position of Supreme Chancellor, giving him access to unchecked power. Then, he plays both sides of the Clone Wars. He controls the Republic and the Separatists, making the Jedi fight a war they can never win. And while they're distracted, he slowly corrupts Anakin Skywalker, feeding into his fears until he fully embraces the dark side as Darth Vader. And then comes the ultimate betrayal in Order 66. In Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, he flips the switch, turning the entire clone army against the Jedi, wiping out almost all of them in a single move. Just like that, the Republic is dead. The Senate cheers him on as he declares himself Emperor, and the Galactic Empire is born. For 20 years, he rules unchallenged, bending the galaxy to his will. Even after his death in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, his influence lingers for generations. Whether through the rise of the First Order or his return in the Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine's grip on the galaxy never truly fades. Hannibal Lectar is one of fiction's most unforgettable villains. At first glance, he seems like a cultured and intelligent man, a brilliant psychiatrist, an art lover, and a gourmet chef. But beneath this sophisticated surface lies a terrifying truth. Hannibal is a cunning and ruthless killer who eats his victims. In Silence of the Lambs, the FBI believes they have him locked away for good, but Lecter is never truly trapped. Instead of being a simple criminal, he's a predator who uses his sharp mind to manipulate those around him. Through conversations with Clarice Starling, a young FBI agent, he carefully breaks down her emotional defenses. He listens, learns, and gains control by exposing her deepest fears and vulnerabilities. Lecter offers just enough help to catch a serial killer named Buffalo Bill, but he does this only to get something far more valuable: access to Clarice's inner world. When the time is right, Hannibal escapes in a chilling and clever way, leaving behind a trail of chaos. In the end, Hannibal Lecter wins. He refuses to be caged by society or law enforcement. His victory is his freedom, the ability to continue hunting and manipulating without limits. He is the perfect example of evil triumphing through intelligence, control, and cold calculation. Adrian Veidt, aka Ozymandias, is the mastermind behind nearly all the events in the TV series Watchmen. Born in 1939 to wealthy German-American immigrants, Veidt demonstrated exceptional intelligence from an early age. After inheriting his parents' fortune at 17, he chose to give it away and embark on a journey of self-discovery, following the path of his childhood hero, Alexander the Great. Now, the world is one bad day away from nuclear war. The Cold War is at its peak, and both the US and Soviet Union are ready to press the big red button. Ozymandias, the so-called smartest man alive, comes up with a plan so insane that it actually works. Instead of trying to stop the war through diplomacy or force, he fabricates an alien invasion to unite humanity against a common enemy. He bioengineers a massive squid-like creature, programs it to unleash a psychic shockwave, and teleports it into New York City. Millions die instantly, and in the chaos, the world's superpowers drop their weapons and come together, terrified of a larger threat. The war is over before it even begins. By the time the other heroes figure out what he's done, it's too late. The attack already happened. The world believes in the alien threat, and even though they know the truth, they stay silent. Exposing Ozymandias would undo everything and send the world straight back to nuclear war. He walks away, victorious, unpunished, and convinced that he did the right thing. The villain won, and maybe, just maybe, the world was better off because of it. We all love a good villain, but only a few ever truly win, and no one pulled off a bigger victory than Thanos, the ultimate antagonist in Avengers Infinity War. Thanos wasn't just another power-hungry warlord, he had a mission. He sought to bring balance to the universe, believing overpopulation would exhaust resources. To achieve this, he used the Infinity Stones to wipe out half of all life. But he wasn't about to waste time conquering planets one by one. He needed absolute power, so he went after the 6 cosmic artifacts that would let him wipe out half the universe with a snap. He began by attacking the home of the Nova Corps to claim the Power Stone, ensuring he had the strength to take on the strongest opponents. Next, he overpowered Thor and killed Loki to take the Space Stone. From there, he used deception to seize the Reality Stone from the Collector. He then killed his adopted daughter, Gamora, to obtain the Soul Stone. Despite his cruelty, this moment revealed the depth of his commitment. He was willing to suffer personal loss to achieve his vision. He then battled the Avengers and Guardians, ultimately overpowering them. Doctor Strange, after seeing millions of possible outcomes, willingly handed over the Time Stone, ensuring a single path to victory. Finally, he arrived in Wakanda, tearing through the Avengers, ripping the Mind Stone straight from Vision's forehead. Thor tries defeating Thanos and lands the final hit, driving Stormbreaker into Thanos' chest. But he made one fatal mistake. He went for the body instead of the head. And then, snap! Half the universe disintegrates into dust. The Avengers fade away, but Thanos wins. The last thing we see is Thanos, sitting peacefully, watching the sunrise on a universe he just balanced. That's not just victory, that's total domination. Who doesn't love a classic detective story? The classic setup: a crime happens, the good guys hunt down the bad guy, justice is served. The world makes sense again. Well, Seven, a 1995 crime thriller, laughs in the face of all that. The film starts like your typical cop thriller. Two detectives, Mills and Somerset, hunting a sadistic serial killer who murders people based on the 7 deadly sins. John Doe, a disturbing and precise killer, executes his victims in ways that align perfectly with their supposed sins. A gluttonous man is forced to eat himself to death. A greedy lawyer is made to carve a pound of flesh from his own body. The killings aren't random, they're a sermon. A twisted lecture on how rotten humanity is. And here's the twist: he wants to get caught. At the moment when most detective movies would be gearing up for a final chase, John Doe casually walks into the police station, covered in blood, and surrenders. Just like that. But not before revealing he has 2 more victims left to complete his grand statement. And he insists that only Mills and Somerset can come along for the finale. John Doe doesn't see himself as a villain. He believes he's the only one telling the truth. To him, sin isn't just tolerated, it's everywhere, and people pretend not to see it. His murders aren't just killings, they're a message, each one a gruesome display of what he thinks the world truly is. When he leads detectives Somerset and Mills to the desert, his final act is revealed. A delivery truck arrives with a box, and inside is the severed head of Mills' wife, Tracy. Doe then calmly explains that he killed her out of envy, because Mills had the normal life he never could. And now Mills has a choice: let his anger take over, or walk away. But how do you walk away from something like that? Mills snaps. He shoots Doe, becoming the very sin Doe wanted him to express: wrath. The plan works. Doe wins. The hero doesn't save the day. Instead, he plays right into the villain's hands. Seven doesn't end with justice. It ends with the bad guy proving his point, the hero broken, and us wondering if John Doe was insane or if he just understood the world better than the rest of us. And that's a wrap, guys. Not every story ends with a hero. Sometimes the villain wins, and that's what makes it unforgettable. If you enjoyed the breakdown, like the video, subscribe for more mind-bending stories, and drop your favorite evil win in the comments.